Hiya. So I wanted to talk about making memory bears out of clothing. So I have used clothing from people that have passed away. I've used baby greys and baby items. I've used school uniforms, bedding. It depends what people want to keep really and use for the memory bear. So I thought I'd do a tutorial collection of videos about how to make a memory bear. I'll do it step by step. I'm using the Melody bear pattern and it's by Funky Friend. It's downloadable. They do it PDF. Well, I think they used to send it through in the post. If they still do, but you can definitely get it online. Funky Friend's factory. So the first stage is, what I tend to do is I trace all the pattern pieces onto iron-on interfacing. And the reason why I use interfacing is because some fabrics are quite delicate, some are stretchy, and it just helps to stabilize them and keep them in their nice shapes ready for sewing. So then what I do is, once I've drawn it all out, I just have a big piece, all the pieces on, I then look at the style of bear that people want, how patchworky they want it. People sometimes have quite specific ideas about how they want them. So my key tips are, always work with the grain of the fabric. So if it was an item of clothing, I would always make sure my pattern pieces ran down, just because then they all, even though you're interfacing it, they may still have a bit of give, and it just keeps everything in the same sort of tension. So when you sew it together, the pieces don't try and move against each other. They all fit together, and they all the fabric is moving in the same direction and holding its position really well. So that's my big thing. So this is a shirt and a t-shirt. As you can see, I haven't removed the buttons. The pieces are on the other side, like I said, all going in the right direction. What I'll do is I'll keep those buttons and use them for detail later. So this particular bear, there's two of them made from the same two items of clothing. So what I've done is I've really thought about my pieces, and one bear's got one fabric for the tummy and the alternative for the back, and I've switched that over. And then on that basis, whichever tummy fabric I've used that for the inside of the arms and the inside of the legs. I've switched over the face and back of head fabric, so one's got one shirt, one's got the other shirt, so they're the same fabrics but two very different bears. Personalising the foot pads, so I'll be doing names and little sayings that because in memory of their great grandfather. One is for a girl and one is for a boy. I've checked in with the person who wants me to make them, so I'm doing the boy one with buttons down the front, so that's what I'll be using those buttons for. And then for the little girl, I'll be putting like a fabric scrappy with ribbon rosette next to the ear to give it a more female feel. I'm not saying that's what you should do, I'm just saying that's what we've chosen to do in this situation. So that's what I've done. So I've ironed all my pieces on. They're all ready to cut out, and that'll be the thing I'll be doing next. I won't video myself cutting them out because that's pretty self-explanatory. One thing I would like to mention is with this sort of fabric where you've got a very bold stripe, as you can see here, these are the, see here and here, these are the sides of the heads. So I've ensured that the eye dot is on the white stripe, because it's, although it's dark blue, it does help to have those things. And I try to match up, as you can see, the noses are at roughly the same point of the stripe, so they should match. When you sew them together, those bits will come up and the lines will be in the same place. Pattern matching. So yes, that's that. What else I want to say about this part? Obviously really careful with your drawing out and pattern cutting, because these do need to line up perfectly. I've got one here that I haven't stuffed yet. This has been made out of a nurse's uniform. See how you've got an inside of the arm and outside the arm. And this is your inside of the leg and your outside of the leg. Got quite good sort of back pieces. People quite often like to have wording put on the arms or the tummy. So yeah, that's stage one, drawing out and ironing on all the pieces. I use medium weight interfacing. I buy it by the roll now. If you've got a really thick fabric, maybe a lighter weight interfacing. If you're mixing fabrics, that can be quite tricky. It does lead to problems if you've got a very thick and a very thin fabric. Also, if you've got fabrics with overlays, you've got like a top with a lacy overlay, you will find when you start cutting, the lace removes itself. So if you're doing anything like that, I would recommend ironing on your pieces again, and then using like a long tack stitch around the outside to make sure that those two layers stay together. What else can I tell you about the prep stage? I use safety eyes. What else can I tell you? I think that's about it really. I think it'd be time to get on with actually making the bear. That's all I can tell you. So that's stage one. So like I said before, Melody Bear pattern from Funky Friends Factory is my absolute favourite. I do use alternative bear patterns for totally different styles, but this tends to be the more popular one. And the next stage will be sewing the head together. My favourite. I love making these bears, they're so cute. What else can I tell you? Nothing else. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you for part 2. Bye.